Hello, my name is Gabriela de Gives, and this is my master's thesis dissertation, which is entitled Embroidering Resistance: Indigenous Strategies Against the Interoceanic Corridor. So, the Interoceanic Corridor is a railway located in Mexico, particularly in the Tehuantepec Isthmus, the Isthmus of Tehuantepec, which is the second narrowest part of all the Americas, just behind the Panama Channel. It is located in the states of Oaxaca and Veracruz, and its main purpose is to connect, or what the main purpose of the Interoceanic Corridor is to connect both um, oceans and then provide an alternative route from the commerce that generates in Asia and then bring it to Europe. That is the reason for this is that the Panama Channel now it is insufficient and there are supply chains that they want to go forward. So basically, this land has been coveted since a very, very long time, and there have been multiple attempts to install mega projects within it, some successful and some not. Most successful cases are wind farms, open pit mines, water dams, and most recent, the Interoceanic Corridor. It consists of three lines, which is the Z line, which connects both ports from Salina Cruz to Coatzacoalcos. This is the FA line, and this is the K line. And what its aim is to connect the southern part of Mexico to Central America, mostly in Guatemala. When alongside the railway, there's expected to be development poles that are in these yellow dots seen here. And last administration decided to make the Interoceanic Corridor a project of national security, which meant that the Interoceanic Corridor, its operation and administration, instead of hiring external contractors, then would be military and navy the ones who would be in charge of administration and operation. Particularly, Interoceanic Corridor is run by the navy, and when there is a militarization in some projects, almost in every project, there have been unexpected consequences documented in other parts of the world. One unexpected consequence that brings militarization of projects is violence. And so my research question is categorize community strategies against the violence that brings the Interoceanic Corridor and its militarization. And the secondary question is evaluate its effectiveness. How do the communities perceive the security? I would like to focus on 4 crimes at this point, which would be extortion, homicides, kidnappings, and robberies. So I would like to analyze this work and this dissertation from 3 theoretical frameworks. The first one I would like to take is Alternative to Development from Arturo Escobar, which focuses on defining the discourse of industrialization and resource exploitation as development. The second one I would like to draw from is Political Ecology from Alessandro Morozin, which stresses how power dynamics shape resistance. And the third one is The Settler Displacement Theory by Patrick Wolf, which proposes that physical and symbolic destruction for the native people and their lands help the settlers or colonialists steal the land and the resources extraction for external interests. So, for this dissertation, I would like to use political ethnography, understanding that all actions encompassing resistance are political. The second one is fieldwork. I decided to conduct 10 semi structured interviews between June and July 2025 in order to triangulate the data received from the interviewees. I looked for state bulletins, NGO reports, newspapers, and social media sources for data triangulation. I engaged in participant observation in almost 2 towns, and I did my analysis looking for similarities and differences between interviews. Parallel research activities I engaged. I was in a fieldwork team which research question was communal strategies against compound disasters, which helped me to increase my participant observation in towns in the isthmus. So before I go on, I would like to show my positionality as a researcher. You can see here all members in my family that have lived within the isthmus or are connected to the isthmus. Um, right now, I am the third generation that has gone to university, which sets us apart from most economic activities, which are agriculture and fishing. And since the 1970s, my family has gained considerable social capital within the region. I openly oppose to mega projects and I advocate particularly to traditional ways of life, clothing, and food. So the results here in this map and this table, I show the number of interviews, the roles all the interviewees had, and the location where I took the interview. So here is most of them. I did it in Juchitán, which is the most populous hub and has the most security concerns at this point. The other one is Unión Hidalgo. Comitancillo is like over here. San Blas Atempa and Santa Maria Mixtequilla is like somewhere over here. So main findings show that one of the key strategies for communities against violence is organized resistance. It can look like a road blockade, which they physically put in themselves and their bodies in the roads to prevent mobilization from one town to the other. The other one is community assembly or asambleas. This is the most recognized and traditional way of organizing. It's usually a gathering in the between the inhabitants of one town in order to take decisions and vote against something related to the town, not only for mega projects. And the third one is intellectual opposition. So communities look for alliances between their educational spaces inside and outside towns, like Universidad Autónoma Comunal de Oaxaca, in order to gain some information regarding this mega project. So I can show you here. This is a banner in which they invited people to workshop to figure out what would happen with water scarcity and pollution if a solar plant farm would be installed in one of the developmental poles near this town. The second as cultural strategy is language and culture. So people advocate for language preservation here in that region. What is mostly spoken is Dijasa. They also advocate for traditional practices like economic activities, so regarding social gatherings, cooking food, and reclamation of everyday practices. This can be seen in the clothing, just like mine, and cooking in their traditional ways, and other stuff. Other Other strategy is spaces for reflection and art. People advocate for creating reading cycles and art workshops in which they can expose their findings. They also try to collaborate with academic institutions with just like La Salle Oaxaca or Instituto Nacional de Antropología e Historia. And this kind of activities or actions help create the third one, which is resistance meta-analysis. So veterans from other resistant movements, just like wind parks, right now are analyzing and thinking in which is the resistance current status, which are the barriers, and what is like the origin of these barriers. The fourth one is local economies, traditional markets. Just like in this picture, people gather around their towns and create their own markets in which they circulate their local food and traditional practices. As a way to keep the money inside the town and it doesn't spread to other ways. The other traditional practice they encourage is limosna. Limosna is a practice in which members of the community share a financial or emotional burden. In this case, limosna is given to a mourning family, and the mourning family is expected to be reciprocal. And when someone is in in need of this support, financial or emotional, they have to pay back the support given. And another strategy that was not usual at all, but I would like to highlight, is derecho de piso, or extortion fee. This extortion fee is something that it's very concerning, in mostly in Juchitán. Here you can see a convenience store bombed due to as a retaliation for not accepting to pay derecho de piso. Social media and press came out as a powerful tool to complain against the activities that government was doing against the towns who were opposing the Interoceanic corridor. Platforms like Facebook and X, formerly Twitter, were crucial for these movement, for these resistance actions. And also they are advocating for traditional media, in which they can, like in this picture, they are complaining about many things, but in particular in this one, they're complaining about cultural extraction. The last one of these actions is legal actions. The first one is injunctions. Some towns decided to file injunctions against the state of Oaxaca in order to block the construction of these development poles or the train itself, just like in Union Hidalgo. Other towns decided to submit to make their case under the International Labor Organization Convention 169, which establishes that all indigenous communities deserve to a free, informed, and consented and culturally appropriate survey that lets them know about any project that is going to affect them in their community, just even before the construction or approval for it from other agents like the state. Here I would like to discuss the effectiveness of what I saw. So my research question was, which are the communal strategies towns create in order to face this violence? And I would like to see if there was a perception of diminishing of crime. So almost every interview we consider there is a partnership and acknowledgement between the state and organized crime. They also think violence cannot be stopped, it can be negotiated or contained, but this is not a grassroots action, because actors who have enough leverage, they are out of this level of diplomacy. They also consider derecho de piso is rising as the most common criminal crime in the region. They also consider there is an unlikely regional solution, and solutions are shifting from the state-led to community-based groups. One of my key findings was that cultural violence exists, facilitating mega project assimilation. So breaking this bond from the people and their territory aligns with what a colonial settler theory mentions, that displacement or symbolic destruction helps these external factors steal the land and grab the resources that is contained within this territory. And another thing that I would like to highlight is resistance strategies vary depending the gender, which also makes me think about what Morosin and political ecology mentioned, that resistance is shaped by power dynamics, and I could see here different resistance strategies depending on gender. So my recommendations here is for preventing cultural erosion is to revitalize traditional practices and language revitalization, for helping local economies resist against capitalism, is encourage practices like tequio in order to create spaces for inclusive spaces for reflection and art, and increase the intellectual resistance, then establish inclusive think tanks. And with inclusive, I think you should consider having at least one female, due to my findings that data suggests that resistance is shaped by gender here. And don't forget that social media is a powerful tool. Social media can help us claim what we are thinking or what we are seeing due to the opacity of this project, and also helps establish communal networks when infrastructure is low. Don't forget, last but not least, create safe spaces for processing trauma for youth, since it is the most vulnerable and populous age group in this region. And don't forget to rest. Shkija Pelatu, thank you very much. Have a great night.